In the next 30 minutes, I want to show you guys exactly how to set up a Facebook leads campaign for your service-based business to generate 50 to 100 or even more qualified leads per month. And I'm talking about leads that will sign $10, $20, $50,000 projects, maybe more, and not just tire kickers. And the exact system we use for our clients that are architects, interior designers, contractors, home builders with multi-million-dollar contracts and deals who are now booking 5 to 10 qualified clients each and every month. Okay, I'm gonna get really granular. I'm gonna show you the exact setup and steps. So if you stay until the end, I'm also gonna be sharing templates and copy paste files that you can use and implement this right away to get this going for your business. So if you're a service-based business owner and you're just tired of waiting for that next referral to come through or for that word of mouth to finally come in, and you're continuously competing on price with lowball offers, wondering where your next client will come from, this video is exactly for you. This video is gonna change everything for you. So I'm just gonna quickly show you what's possible. So for example, this client of ours, in less than a month, over 100 leads that he generated here. And this example here, this business is consistently generating 10, 20, 30 high quality conversations each and every month. And we do so for ourselves, for our clients. It's really predictable once you figure this out and you get this working for you to consistently generate high quality leads and clients each and every month. But I'm gonna show you everything. I'm not gonna gatekeep anything. I'm gonna give you the exact steps we're gonna take right now in this video to get everything set up for you. Grab a notebook, or if you wanna start implementing right away, grab your screen. I'm gonna share all the tools, all the systems, everything that we use to get this set up and running right now. So before we dive in and start setting up the campaign, it's really important to cover some foundations, because I know there's a lot of advertising out there. A lot of people come in, oh, you can generate leads for $5 or this or that. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I'd like to clear the waters and show you exactly how we get those predictable results and what it will actually cost you. So for this, I'm gonna whip out this little ad spend calculator that we use all the time to show you exactly what you can expect. And if you're wondering if you can copy paste and use this too, again, I will leave the links in the description and you can go and use this resource as well. Okay, so initially what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug in our data here. So we're gonna assume we're gonna do this not for 1 week and give up, but we're gonna actually stick with this strategy and we're gonna spend money on Facebook or on Meta, Facebook and Instagram for the next 90 days, okay? Because this will give us enough time to establish enough data and to understand if this is working for us or not. And it will give us enough time to get the results that we need. Because what happens is many people come in and they're like, oh, I need clients right now. I need clients in the next 2 weeks. And then they start running ads and they realize that it just doesn't happen that quickly sometimes. And then after 2 weeks, they didn't have enough leads or sales or something like that. And they're like, oh, Facebook doesn't work. That is not the way that it works. So if you need clients in 2 weeks, I would recommend doing something else, like calling as many of your previous clients and your referrals and anything you can do to get your next project so you have a little breathing room. Or if there's absolutely no option there right now within your business and you're just starting out, maybe consider grabbing another 9 to 5 for a couple of months to build up a little bit of cash and a little bit of a safety net for the next couple of months that you can invest in this strategy and really take your business forward. If you have a service-based business that is generating consistent revenue already, so that means you're making 10, 20, 30K a month, somewhere like that, and you want to scale to 7 figures, you're in the perfect spot. And this video and this what I'm going to share right now is going to take you there with no issues at all. Okay, so we're planning for 3 months and we're going to put in here, we're going to say we're going to spend at least $1,000 a month, maybe a little bit more. Okay, so let's put in 3K here. Now our offer price is what our customer will spend with us. Okay, so you take the average. If your one customer spends 100,000 and the other customer only spends 10,000, you take the average of that. So you go with 50 or something in between. Think of all the projects that you've had in the past and the clients and what do they on average spend with you. And this is the number that you put in here. For some of our clients, they have a ticket price of 150,000, which is their lowest home that they sell. For others, it's 10,000, 30,000, $30,000, $50,000, anywhere in between. Make sure what we're doing here is a lead generation strategy. So we're not doing e-commerce or smaller ticket sales, but we want to generate leads for a business that are ultimately going to spend a lot of money with us. Okay. So I'm assuming here that, your clients spend anywhere from at least $5,000 to $10,000 with you, or this strategy is going to be difficult for you to implement. And there may be other strategies that are better fitting for what you need right now. So let's assume, just for the sake of this exercise, let's put in $30,000. Okay. So each client is worth $30,000 for us. Here are some basic numbers. This is not always the same. This depends on your ad creative, on your copy, on the time of the day or the month or the year. Is there an election? Is there something else going on? Black Friday. There's a lot of things that skew this, especially when it comes to, are you a really seasoned advertiser? Do you know exactly what you're doing, or are you just starting out? Okay, so assume that when you're just starting out, and maybe you're trying everything on your own, that everything is going to be a little bit more towards this bracket. However, sometimes you're lucky and you may be more in this bracket. Average is always good to go with. So your lead cost is the lead that comes in initially, right? This doesn't necessarily mean a quality conversation. Just someone raising their hand and saying, hey, Sebastian, I'm interested in this service or this offer that you have out there. When you're advertising on Facebook, these are complete strangers. They've seen maybe a couple of seconds of your ad. They probably didn't read everything. They probably didn't watch the entire video. So these people are not always 100%. They don't trust you yet. They haven't fully bought into this. Maybe they're just chopping. So there's a lot of not so good leads as well. This is part of the game. That's why we have this separate line here, which is the metric cost per book call. And I'm going to explain why this is your most important metric in a second as well. So pay close attention here. Your cost per book call is quality conversations. So this is better than a lead. This is a lead that raises their hand twice and says, Sebastian, I would like to sit down with you and have a serious conversation about this thing. Okay, so if it's buying a home or renovating a home, it's like, Sebastian, I want to talk about this right now because I'm like seriously interested in this and I have an actual project that I want to talk about. So these are very high quality leads, and this is your metric, which is the most important, right? Because if you would get 5 to 10 more high quality conversations next month, you could probably close 1 or 2 of those, right? Which would mean this extra $30,000 to $60,000 in revenue to your business. So this is the most important metric here. And then obviously out of these people that raise their hand twice, there's still going to be a little bit of drop off, right? Because not everyone shows up. Sometimes maybe they've already chosen a competitor, or life gets in between, or they just simply change their mind, forget, whatever, right? There's going to be a couple of these people that do not show up to that conversation. And finally, you're not going to convince everyone to buy from you then and there, right? So out of these maybe 10 high quality conversations that you had, maybe only 1, 2, or here in the best case, 3 of them signed up to buy from you and to work with you on your services. So this is what these metrics explain. And here you have the explanation of which, right? So cost per lead, cost per book call, show up rate, and the close rate. Now, when we're looking at the data, and this is automatically calculated for you right here, this is what you should expect. Down here, you will see the best case, the average case, and the worst case. So let's assume we spend $3,000 on ads over the course of 90 days, so 3 months. Our best case, we will generate around 150 leads. We will get maybe 10 to 12 serious conversations. 8 of these will actually happen. And then because we're closing these people so good, we're gonna get 3 closes and we generated $90,000 in revenue. And if I told you right now you could give me $3,000 and I would give you back $90,000 in revenue to your business, you would probably not skip a beat and say, yes, of course, let's do it right now. So this is really a really amazing best case. However, as I mentioned, as you're starting out and you're just learning the ropes and you're figuring this whole thing out, it may be more probable that you're in the bucket of the worst case, which means you only get 75 leads and you only have 4 high quality conversations. And out of these 4, none of them turn into a lead. And 3 months from now, well, maybe you call me up or, we're back at this point and you say, Sebastian, Facebook ads do not work for me. And that is because we simply did not play the math correct. We did not play the numbers game, and we did not get the outcome that we were looking for. So this is not such a good scenario, because you spent $3,000 and then you spent a bunch of your time, effort, maybe you hired an agency, not. So you spent $5,000, maybe $10,000, and you didn't get any return, right? Which is the worst possible outcome that you could achieve at this point. So in order to fix that, it's really simple. We got to spend a little bit more money. And this is the point where I mentioned before that it comes in handy if you're already generating a little bit of money and you have some clients coming in. So it will be more comfortable for you to also say, okay, let's not spend $1,000 a month, but let's spend $3,000 a month. That gives us $9,000 over the course of 3 months to spend. And now you see these numbers automatically updated. And now even in your worst case scenario, which you get only 225 leads, a horrible number of these show up, only 20 of these serious conversations happen, which are still, 5, 6, 7 a month, and 10 of these show up. So you have a 2, 3, 4 serious conversations a month, and then you close just one of them. So even in this absolute devastating scenario, you still made back your money 3 times, right? So depending on your profit margins, maybe this is a break-even scenario, right? Maybe your profit margins are 30, 40%, something like that. And now you spent $9,000 on ads and you're getting back $30,000. So now, all your business expenses, everything paid, you're breaking even. So with this strategy, spending $3,000 a month, you are now breaking even, and you can work on your ads, you can do new creatives, and you have faith in the system that it actually can generate results for you. What you'll do here is you're gonna continue advertising, you're gonna continue improving your creatives and update your campaigns, and you're gonna get better results, right? You're gonna get better at your sales if you practice this, right? At your closing, at your process, and then you're gonna get better results. And next month, maybe we're here, right? And then this one lead that closed, he's gonna give you 2 referrals, and actually his project is not 30K, but he wanted to do more, so he's spending 60K, and suddenly this whole thing, which you thought would potentially turn out to be break even or not really profitable, is wildly profitable for you. And you've cracked paid advertising, and you've figured out a system to consistently get more high quality clients into your business. Okay, this is my goal, and this is the foundation of everything we're doing here, that you deeply understand this and the math behind what we're doing on Facebook, because everything is just math. You go out there, more people know that you exist, they come to you, raise their hand, say they're interested, and you tell about your services and the great work that you do, and ultimately, some of these people will choose to work with you, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be running a business right now, if not already in the past. Some people have selected you and said, hey, I want to work with you. So now that we figured these foundations, we got to dive into the second step. So this is the first one that we've checked off. And now we're going to go into the irresistible offer. Now, when you advertise, it's really important, and I'm going to share one of these resources below as well, so that you can click onto it and you can use this in your business. But when we advertise, it's extremely important that you embrace this world of advertising. Okay, go into your feed, look at some advertisements, and scroll through Instagram or Facebook and get a little feeling of what actually stops your scroll and what hooks you, right? What is it when you see these advertisements? So it's really important that when you're advertising, you don't go out there and you say, hey, I'm a builder, I could build you a home. That is not really an attractive offer. That's great that you're a builder and you can build a home. But essentially what will stop my scroll or get me really interested if I'm in the market for a new home is something really attractive or something of value to me while I'm researching. So here, there's things that you need to think about that could be potential, this great stuff for your client. We do this when we research your ideal client very deeply, and we say, what is the magnetic offer? We call this the magnetic offer. What is your magnetic offer for your clients? Who is your client, and how do your services give them the absolute best possible thing? In the most simplest terms, you define your ideal client very specifically. You say, okay, these are doctors, they make this and this income, and they're in this area. And now you figure out, okay, what are my services in building these homes that are so unique for these doctors, right? Maybe it's your experience, maybe it's that you know exactly what they want and what they need. And around this, you craft an offer that is scroll stopping and irresistible to click on. So at this point, you want to think about something very special and valuable to your ideal client. Okay, so for example here, don't just offer a free consultation. And I know you might be needing to charge for your initial consultation, and that's completely fine. I'm not saying you need to give out too much free work, but initially when you're running ads, you gotta also qualify your clients. Okay, so you gotta figure out if this potential client is even a fit, right? And you don't wanna waste your time with tire kickers. And there's several ways to do so, some of which I will cover later in the video as well. But essentially, at this stage, you also want to give value to your potential clients. So if you know they could be a good fit, you want to offer value to them. And the way to do so is already in your wording and your title and the way you advertise. So for example, offering, instead of a free consultation, you can say this is your design concept session or your custom roadmap, or something that you can already give of value. Some of our clients, we do lead magnet campaigns, right? Where we say, for example, this is a study of the area and the best possible places to buy a home, or here's how you can get financing, here's how you can get land. There's different options that you can provide where you give your possible prospect, which is in the market, a lot of value upfront. And at the same time, you're showing your expertise and your authority. So why they should pick you for whatever they're planning to do, okay? So this is really important to use very specific language, offer them something of value, and at the same time, you're getting in these qualified leads that will hop on a phone call or in an in-person meeting with you that you can qualify and figure out if this is a fit for you, and also sell them on what you do and your services and why you're the best possible fit for this job. Finally, we talked about this a little bit before, right? But you gotta be very specific. If you go out there and you say, I create homes and architecture for everyone, and I do so nationwide, this strategy will not work for you. Okay, it's like somebody trying to do everything for everyone. Oddly, that never really works, and everyone avoids that, right? It's like if you're looking for a surgeon to help you out with one specific problem, you don't want this general practitioner to, be like, oh, we can just try something, right? You want someone that is very specific for one specific area, right? The same goes for when people are looking for someone to build their home, or someone, even if it's a plumber or a roofer, right? People want someone very specific, knows the area, knows the zoning codes, knows the special regulations and stuff like that. And you need to showcase that you actually, for this dream client avatar, that you know exactly what you're doing, and advertise specifically to this dream client avatar. We call this ICP, stands for Ideal Client Profile. Once we break this down a little bit, right, and we figure out, what's their income level, what are their hobbies, lifestyle, what do they do, where do they hang out, what are their key pain points. This will also help us write the copy in the advertisement, and it will help us with the targeting, right? Even though AI is getting better and Facebook is changing day by day and, adding all these automated targeting things that really allow you to go out there and you don't really need to do much targeting anymore, it is still really important, especially now it's even more important as you don't do this manual targeting anymore. You got to have it in your copy or in the wording of your video, because this is how the AI then decides who do we go and look for. This is how the algorithm will then make decisions on where to place your ads so that they are most likely to convert. Now, once we have the foundations in check, and by the way, I'm going to link some of these exercises below in the description as well, so you can go through them and you can actually implement this so that you can tag along and go into the next step with us. So once we have the foundations figured out, we're going to dive into the technical setup. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to get a little bit tangible. So if you want to follow along, you can do so, or if you want to just watch this and then implement it later, take notes, feel free to do so now. So there is a few things that we need in order to successfully run ads. And I will try to keep it as simple as possible for you to get started right away. But I still want to make aware that generally, for example, it's a common practice to have a CRM, and it makes sense to have one, because at this point, we're going to get, you've seen the numbers before when we looked at the calendar, right? If we're doing this right, we're going to get 300, maybe 400 leads over the course of these next 3 months. Okay, so we're gonna get a lot of leads, and maybe this is just a little bit. Maybe you're gonna spend more. Maybe you're gonna spend $5,000-$10,000 on ads every month. So you're gonna have hundreds and hundreds of leads. For all of these leads, and even if it's like lowest case, just 30 leads a month, you wanna have a system in place that helps you organize these leads, that helps you automate some emails here and there and send something like that. You wanna have something like this in place. Okay, I will show you a solution that we use. Really easy, has everything in one place. In fact, even set up some templates that I can share with you in this video as well. That will allow you to plug and play this solution and get started right away. Then we want to make sure that we have a Facebook pixel. Now it's called data sets in the ads manager, but we want to make sure that we have this set up correctly and that we have this pixel firing on our landing pages when we run the ads. Not doing so or not doing so correctly is going to significantly damage your results or not get you as good results as you could, because this pixel is what makes Facebook ads or meta ads so good, because it collects all the data on how people interact with your advertisement, which people watch your ad, which people click it, which people come in and book a call with you and actually have a serious conversation, all the way to the people that make a purchase in the end. Tracking this properly will allow the algorithm to understand which people are actually interested in your product or service, so that they can send more of those people your way. And once you figure this out, which is why the timeline is so important too, that we do this for 1, 2, 3 months, is because over time, this pixel, the data set, gets more and more data on who actually is the right customer for your particular service and offering. And over time, this gets so good that it uniquely understands who is the right person for your ad, right? Maybe many of you have had this situation before, that you've spoken to your wife or your husband or to a friend about this new thing or something like that, or maybe you mentioned baby or diapers, and who knows, 2 minutes later you scroll in your feed and you see all these baby advertisements, right? The reason is not that Facebook is actually listening to you or there's the microphone on or something like that, which would be kind of really creepy. And I know it's creepy. And the reason why it's creepy, but this is not the microphone, because Facebook has on this pixel, it has, or on every person, it has over 50,000 unique data points. It's hard to imagine, right? But these unique data points are different things, from things that they know from the Wi-Fi or the area that you logged in, to how long you looked at that one picture and that other ad, and which other services you used and logged into, and sometimes also websites that you visited or not. And so based on these 50,000 unique parameters that it has on you, it knows you better than you probably know yourself. And it uses all of these data points interconnectably with machine learning and huge computers and AI in the background to deeply understand what you anticipate as well, what you could need right now. So for example, if you're an interior designer, architect, home builder, something like that, Meta already knows all of the people that are in the market to renovate their home, to buy a new home, to do anything before they might even not even know about it. Okay. And the reason why it knows is, well, maybe you've spent some time on Home Depot sites, or maybe you were looking up listings. Maybe you spent a little bit more time on Zillow. Who knows? Meta knows, right? And so the reason why we need to implement this correctly is so crucially important, because it will get us way better results. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the Facebook Business Manager real quick, and I'm going to make sure that you have these 3 or 4 key things. The first thing that we need is we need to go to business.facebook.com. I explained this in a separate video on how you can actually log in, but generally you'll probably figure this out. You go to business.facebook.com, you log in. You need to have a personal Facebook account. Somehow it associates this with you just for security reasons, but then you can use your business email and stuff like that, and you can create a portfolio where you can have all of your assets. Okay, Facebook calls everything an asset. An asset is anything from a Facebook page to a data set to an ad account, something like that. And within your business portfolio, you can give all of these different assets access to yourself, to any employees within your business, or to partners such as an agency, like for example we do for our clients. You can give them access, and then they will be able to help you to control it, to collaborate with you on these assets. Okay, you will also be able to advertise with it. So you need to have a Facebook page. If you don't have one yet, you can create one, right? You can do so right here, clicking the add button, and say you want to add an existing Facebook page or create a new one. Then you need to make sure that you assign yourself your personal self control here, because right now it's just your business portfolio that has control. Then what we need is an ad account. We'll go create one, and you can do so. You click here, add, and then you will say new ad account. You put it there, give it a name. It can be anything, your business name, ad account one, whatever is completely fine. Make sure you assign yourself control, you give yourself full access, and you have that in place. Okay. The next thing that we need is a data set, right? So we mentioned this data set pixel. You go, you make sure you have your data set pixel set up. We click add here. If you don't have one, again, name it your business data set 01, whatever is completely fine. These are the key things that we need. What I would also recommend is connecting your Instagram account, just so that you can natively run ads on Facebook and Instagram. The only alternative that you'll see if you don't add your Instagram account is that Facebook will use your Facebook page for the ads on Instagram. You don't really notice if you don't look really well, but it will just not be your Instagram account. So you'll only have the advertisement. If you want to run ads that go to get more followers on Instagram, you will have to add your Instagram account. So that works perfectly well. You can do so on Instagram accounts. You can go and click and add your Instagram account right here. Okay, once we have all of that set up, we're gonna go right into the ad account that we wanted to have, and we're gonna click open in Ads Manager. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go click the plus button, and we're gonna start a new campaign. So if you get this message that says, okay, account info needed, then we'll just go fix this. And then we're gonna go create a new leads campaign. Okay, I'm gonna click continue, and then for now, we're gonna click manual leads campaign, and I'm gonna explain exactly why. Now, while you're watching this video, depending on when this is, maybe this already changed, Meta is continuously updating their UI, and it's different for users all over the US and around the world. So not everything will always be exactly the same, but you'll probably have similar steps that you can take or buttons to click to get into a similar kind of look and feel of the interface. Okay, and otherwise drop it in the comments and I'll try to help you out with another video or something else below. When we're doing these ad sets, it's really important to understand the different setup of the campaign, the ad set level, and the ad level. Okay, so there are 3 levels to your ads. Obviously the top, the campaign level, is where everything sits in. So one campaign has all of the other things in it, and then you can create multiple campaigns. In many cases, you might not even need to create multiple campaigns. One campaign always has one objective. We chose that before. In this case, it's going to be leads. So if you want to run another objective, like getting more Instagram followers, that would be a different objective, and there we would have to create another campaign. When we have the ad set, this is gonna give us a little bit more detail on where we wanna go after and what we wanna spend. Important, we can spend the money on the campaign or on the ads. I would always recommend having everything within the campaign. So select here campaign budget, and then we can put our budget in here. Initially, as I mentioned, right, let's assume you're spending, $1,000 a month. That would be at least $30, maybe $40 a day. So we wanna go put that in. And let's say right here, we're gonna put 50, okay? Now, what we wanna do here, this is for the overall budget. We don't wanna do anything else right now, budget scheduling. We wanna have auction, and we wanna give this campaign a name. I would always recommend using something that is very familiar to your campaign and what you know, so you can identify them later. Also in the UTM parameters and in the tracking, which I'll explain in a sec too. Okay, so we can build this later as we have it built out. I don't necessarily recommend doing crazy complicated naming conventions. Just use something that you can remember and you know which campaign that was and for what it was there. Same for the ad set here. Initially, when we're setting up this campaign, we're now gonna go for website. However, in your case, you could also use instant forms depending on what works best for you. The simplest way to run ads is through instant form. If you have a little bit more of a sophisticated setup, like you're using a CRM with landing pages, it allows you a lot of options that you can use to your advantage over just Facebook instant forms. So here we'll need to have the pixel that is set up with that. We already have the pixel, so we're just gonna connect that later. If you get this option, you need to make sure that the pixel, you're allowing both of the assets to connect to each other. So and you do so by going here into the pixel, and then you say connect assets, other business assets, and then you go connect your ad account. Once that's connected, then you will be good to go. And you can close this window and refresh this one here, and then it will allow you to connect your pixel. So you see here we have the data set, which is now assigned. We're going to click maximum number of conversions, conversion event. We're going to have the schedule. Now, dynamic creative is something really useful. If you have multiple different creatives, we're going to turn this on, and then we're going to use the different creatives. Now, this is really important, budget and schedule. So when you're scheduling the ads, Facebook always tries to spend the entire amount that you select per day for the entire day. So if you start this at 6 o'clock in the evening, it will try to spend your entire budget there that evening. This will always get not as good results because Facebook is just starting your campaign and it's scrambling to go spend all of your budget. So I would always recommend putting this out to the next day at exactly midnight. Now, when you're running lead ads, as the AI gets better and better, obviously doing things like Advantage Plus, which is letting Facebook choose everything for you, is getting better and better. However, in my opinion, I still feel like Facebook's just spending your money and wasting your money. So I would always recommend switching to the original audience as long as you still can, and it allows you to get a little bit better results. Something you need to learn about advertising on Facebook as well is they will always tell you, you could do this or you could do that, or you could get this lower or that lower. In many cases, it doesn't really apply. It doesn't get you the results that you're actually looking for. This based on over 5 million in advertising spend in the last couple of years over myself and several clients, and multi-million-dollar campaigns that I've overseen within my corporate role too. Facebook generally, their entire goal is to make you spend more money, not necessarily get you better results. Okay, so what you want to do is not always listen to their messages that they have here and anywhere else, and really focus on just your KPIs and your results. Okay, we had that before in the advertising calculator, your cost per book call and how many people of those qualified conversations did you close. Okay, so when you're looking for audiences here, you can give it a little bit more information to look for people that you're actually interested in. A little hack that I use here to find more interests and behaviors that I could target is you can use something like Claude or ChatGPT. You can feed it general context about your offer and your magnetic offer, your ideal client. And then you can go in and say something like, for example, based on the magnetic offer and this ideal client, what do you think are particular interests, behaviors, and other demographics that we could target to find these specific clients? Give me some ideas for Facebook ads targeting, all the way from hobbies, areas, demographics, anything you can think of. And then it will go paste this in. Now for this example, I'm using Claude. You can do something similar on ChatGPT or probably even like free LLMs that you can find out there, completely fine. So when you see this simple 1-minute prompt already gave me a lot of information, right? This is probably due to the detailed nature of this clarity and magnetic offer already created by this client. But even so, even if you don't have this, it will give you a lot of information that you can use, even life events, right? Recently moved, away from family, away from hometown, new job. All of these things could be really interesting audiences to try. So when you're running ads and you do different campaigns, you have a lot of ideas here that you can use. Now, starting out, I would not really go, so deep and so specific, because we want to give Facebook the chance to also learn a little bit about our ideal client and where these are from. And if we go to only newly moved people, or people that are only interested in sustainable architecture, we're going to narrow that down really deep. Okay, so let's go and pick some of the more broader ones. We can also go check if there's, for example, like magazines and stuff like that would be available. We can put that in there and see the New York Times, employers, schools, interests. So we can pick one and make sure that we have an audience of, a couple million. So what we're going to do here is we're going to narrow it down to the area of New York as well. So we're not going to pick the entire United States. We're going to say New York. There we go. Okay. Now we have people here as well. You can always, there's a broad range, but we can say, okay, nobody under 25, and we'll leave the 65 plus there. We have one interest that we're targeting right now. We have an audience that is rather big. We have a couple 100,000 people in there. That's completely fine. Placements, I would also always recommend going manually, because honestly, if you're running these lead gen ads, I want people to not see this somewhere in the back end. So I don't want the audience network, and I want to have feeds only. Okay, so I want to have feeds, Facebook feed, Instagram feed. So you can see, you can get really granular with what you're trying to target here. You can select exactly where you want people to see your advertisement and deselect things that you don't want them to be. So for example, right column, Instagram Explorer, we don't want that. We don't want Marketplace, Instagram profile feed is fine. Stories and Reels is okay. Stories and Reels, Instagram Reels, that's fine. What we don't want is in-stream ad for Reels is fine. Search results, no. And everything else, no as well. Okay, so again, when we're done with this, make sure we have a name. Okay, there we go. And then I like doing this as well. We can put the audience size there too, just so that we know how big this is. And once you use something regularly, you can use a template here as well and stuff like that to get something faster. Then we're gonna click next. So when you see here, we have the Facebook page and the Instagram account connected. And now we're gonna go on to manual upload, single image or video. We don't wanna have this checked. This basically means that Facebook will show your ad next to all of your competitors' ads as well. We don't necessarily want that. Okay, and then we're gonna go and select images and videos. We're gonna go upload them to our account. We're gonna click upload. Okay, so you wanna make sure that your videos are added in here, or your images, that you have those in. Do not do too many enhancements and optimizations, even if Facebook recommends this. It will change the way your video or your images look. So make sure that you are aware of what that actually looks like. Here we'll give you a bunch of optimizations for text using AI. Might be useful maybe if you want to go through it quicker. I would recommend spending some time on the copy. Obviously you can use AI for help, but read through it, make sure that it's all really clear. Make sure your bullets are clearly outlined and it is well readable. Remember, this advertisement represents you, and even if these many people will just scroll past it or click past it, the people that are truly in the market, your ideal client, your dream customers, they're gonna look at this carefully, some of them, and they're gonna read it. And if they feel that you can't even, write the ad copy properly, how are they gonna entrust you with a $100,000 project on their home or on their next renovation, as an example, if that is part of your service, right? So make sure that you would feel comfortable, let's say you're in the market for luxury clients looking for multi-million-dollar homes, that you would be comfortable showing this to one of these luxury multi-million-dollar clients, and imagine they're gonna read it line by line. Would they, feel this is representative of your work and your quality of work and your standards? Okay, so that's really important. Before you do a bunch of AI optimizations, make sure that you can stand behind it and that it makes sense. Okay, titles, always good to try a little bit here. So we can select some of the titles here and we will be able to use the data later down the line to choose. Then we have the website URL that we're pointing to. I'm gonna share that with you in a sec. Then we wanna display link. You don't need to necessarily change that unless your URL is really complicated to click. We also don't need to have any additional call to actions here. Then we go to the tracking and the pixel. Now, this is really important when you're tracking something, and I will explain that in a sec. We need to make sure that your pixel is correctly installed, okay? I will show you how to do this within our system. Any system that you're using, Calendly will have this function. Any other CRM will probably allow you to do this too. I will show you how it's done within this tool here. So what we need to do is we need to have the dataset ID, okay, which is now copied, and that's good to go. So the next thing, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the landing page where we have this set up. Okay. Now, as mentioned to you before, we use a system called GHL where we have everything already set up for you. I will link the link below in the description so that you can actually use this tool too, and you can follow along step by step. Out of all the tools that I tried, and trust me, I've tried all of them. I spent half of my life in enterprise sales, selling one of the biggest CRM solutions to the biggest companies, Fortune 100 companies out there, implementing multi-million-dollar CRM implementations for these businesses. Now, for any business that is doing anywhere multiple 6 figures into 7 figures, already into early 8 figures, this is the best possible setup that you can have. Other tools like HubSpot, Salesforce, and stuff like that are good, are great actually, but they come into play later once you're 8-figure, multiple 8-figure, 9-figure business. That's when those tools really get robust for an enterprise system where you have many sales reps, marketing team, and multiple people that need to depend on the system. If it's just you, if it's a team, 5, 10 people, anywhere for these revenue levels that I mentioned, you will get the best possible outcome and all of the tools in one within the system that I linked below. Okay, so in here, we have everything set up for this particular client. So we have the ads funnel here, where we have the main landing page, which includes a little survey so that we can qualify the lead, right? I know many of you are thinking, well, how do we make sure that we don't speak to tire kickers? How do we make sure that these people actually have money and they actually have a project? The answer to that is we figured that out in a little survey that we asked them particular questions about their project, about what they're doing, so that we get very high quality leads in the end and we can disqualify the others. Okay. Then we have a calendar booking page similar to Calendly, which works all in one, where they can then book a consultation. And finally, we have a thank you page, which allows us then to thank them for booking the confirmation and is the end of the funnel. So now we need to make sure that we have their pixel added into this funnel. The way we do that is we go to the pixel and we select install code manually. Okay, now we copy this code here and we go paste it. This is the base code. And now we're going to do exactly what they say. They say, put it in the head of your website. So we're going to copy this code. We're going to go here and we're going to paste this in here. Okay, I'm going to click save. What we want to do as well is we want to track for the schedule and for the lead event. We can do so really simply by adding this into an AI and say, give me for this pixel, give me the code to track for the schedule and for the lead event, and we can click enter and it will give us the output that we're looking for. I will show you in a sec. Okay, so now it's given us the code for the lead and it's given us the script for the schedule event. And now we want to make sure that these two are actually, we're going to save this. This is the general tracking code here. And then we're going to go into the steps. We're going to select the calendar page because this is where the lead is already created. We're going to go in here. We're going to open up the page. We're going to select tracking code and we're going to put that in here. And we're going to click publish. Okay, now we're going to go back. And we're going to select the thank you page. We're going to open this in edit. Track. There we go. Okay, so what this does is that every lead that comes through this funnel, we will know exactly which ones are lead. We will know exactly which ones schedule the conversation. And we will know because this is a higher quality lead. Remember, I mentioned at the beginning, leads are just leads. The ones that schedule a call, they want to actively discuss this with you right now. So they are a way higher quality of lead. So we want to know the difference and we want the Facebook pixel to know the difference as well. That's really important. All right, so now that we got that all set up, we're going to make sure that that's actually working. So we're going to go and we're going to test it quickly. So we're going to click continue. We can turn this on. There we go. Now we can go and test events. So we're going to input the website URL here. We're going to go grab this, test events, and we're going to click through this. We're going to put in a name, Sebastian, test. There we go. Now we can select appointment. There we go. Perfect. Everything's working. Got the guide. So now we're going to go check. And now we see all of the events, right? We see what happened here. So we see initially, this is the first thing that happened. We got a page view event. And then we said, okay, this person did some browser events, then they submitted an application and the lead was processed. Okay, so and then what we did was the second event that was processed was the schedule event, right? So everything's working perfectly. This is the initial setup that we need, and you got to make sure that you have this all set up. There's a more extensive setup, which is called server-side tracking. I would recommend anyone that is spending more than $10,000 a month on ads to make sure that you set up your server-side tracking correctly. This will improve your results. If you're just getting started and you're running ads anywhere from a couple $1,000s a month, you do not need to go through that extensive setup. If you are currently running ads, spending anywhere a couple $1,000 and you want to improve your results, you can also click one of the links below and schedule a call with us to look at what we can potentially do for you, and we can go through your setup and make sure that we set up the tracking professionally, which is usually gotten anywhere from 15 to 30% better results if you get the server-side tracking implemented correctly and you're tracking those figures. So now that we have this all set up, we know this is working. Don't worry about the red button if it says it there. We can get rid of that. We can say website events is good. That is all good. Now we're gonna talk about UTMs real quick. UTM parameters have been around for years, since the beginning of the advertising world. They are little snippets at the end of your URL. Usually have a question mark and then information behind that. And those snippets allow you to track very specifically where your people are coming from. That means if somebody signs up, subscribes, schedules a consultation, or even buys from you, you will know exactly what started this journey, which ad creative, which ad set, which campaign, what sites they visited, and where they were coming from. The reason why this is so important to track this specifically is to know exactly finally where your customers are coming from, which campaigns are working, which ads are working, so that you can double down and do more of what's working and spend your money on things that are actually worth spending their money. So where you're getting a return. We want to make really sure we can go ahead and build one. So we can select, for example, the campaign ID or the campaign name, whatever is more comfortable to you. If you get more sophisticated with this, you can use the IDs and you can translate the ID to see your campaign and stuff like that. Right now, if you're starting out, make sure you have the name so that you know what you have selected. Campaign medium is what you use. So the source is usually the campaign that we have here. So we don't need the campaign name again. So here we have the ad set name. So here we can usually have something like, for example, Meta. Right? Here we can select the campaign name, and this is your ad set at the end, the content. You can add more to this if necessary, if you need that to identify, or you have different tracking tools that you want to use, or maybe you're testing some campaigns and ads and stuff like that and you want to have that there. Initially, this will do the trick and it will help you identify exactly which campaign, which ad, and where it came from. Knowing this at the beginning is knowing that it's coming from Meta, so this Facebook campaign, right? You can have other UTM sources, for example, for Google Organic, or from any other source that is useful. All right, so we're gonna go click apply. We have those in there as well, which is all good. And when everything looks good, everything is good to go, we're gonna give this ad set a name. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and click publish. Don't worry, if you click out, everything you did here is gonna be automatically saved. So this is all done. Don't worry about the campaign score and this and that. Again, Meta is trying to milk you for as much cash as they possibly can. This doesn't mean that you are gonna get better results. And these data points that they offer you here are based on thousands and millions of advertisers that are doing something completely different than you, some of which are losing a lot of money each month. They're not advertising here to be profitable like we are trying to do. Okay, so don't worry too much about these campaign scoring things here like that. The only thing we should really worry about is, running this for a long time, ensuring our KPI and making sure that we can meet our KPI. So our cost per book call, and finally the people that sign up through the calls that we do. Okay, now back to our checklist here real quick, right? So we went through the technical setup. We made sure we have our CRM connected. We have our conversions, our pixel connected. We looked at the landing page. We made sure that we have the proper setup. So we have initial a little bit of friction. We're asking the right questions. We make sure it's mobile optimized. We didn't really talk about that much because everything we do on the CRM that we have in place for those landing pages is mobile optimized. Then we look at the thank you page and the whole, form. Again, here, when we're advertising, this form that you've seen before, these 4 fields, phone number, email, that is the most you want to ask. Okay. Sometimes you can even do less if you can, but I would always recommend asking for the phone so that these are interested leads. You want to be able to call them. Obviously, if you're asking for less, it will be more profitable. So that's, again, something to consider when you're seeing these results on the internet, right? That people are saying, oh, you can get leads for whatever dollar amount. You need to consider, well, what advertising are they running, right? Are they offering you a free Ferrari, only input your email? Maybe they're going to get a very low cost per lead. The more information you ask, so the higher quality the lead is, the more expensive it's going to be to acquire these leads. However, usually it pays off, right? If you're selling multi-million-dollar homes and these people are very highly qualified, that might be really lucrative to you. Okay, so we went through the creating the campaign overview, the structure, everything in there, the audience targeting strategies, different ad examples that we can put in there. In the link below, I'm going to also let you in on an entire ad library template as well that you can use to just get set up. If you're a service-based business, I have over 50 different creatives that have been proven to work for many years. You can adapt them to your needs and then get started with that right away. Then we're going to look at a little launch checklist, and I'm going to share some information that is really important because when you start this, you're going to start getting leads, and leads are going to do nothing for your business initially if you don't close them and you're making your money back. So we want to make sure that once we're getting in these leads, that we're doing the process carefully and that we actually bring the money into the business. Okay, so we checked the pixel, we made sure it's firing correctly in the browser, really important. We checked the landing page, we checked the CRM, made sure that these leads are coming in. When I did the test before, I got the emails, I got the text messages as well. Something we didn't really talk about in this video. I'm going to talk about in a separate video about the whole text messages. In order to increase the show up rate for the people to come to your scheduled appointment, I would highly recommend you implement a strategy like a tool like the one that I shared so that you can send text messages as well. Thank you page is working, check the ad copy, make sure that you feel comfortable if that was your $1 million client reading that, and the budget and everything is set up correctly. Now, in your first 72 hours, so the first 3 days, let's say, one important rule, I didn't really talk about this, probably the most important rule. When you're running Facebook ads, you generally don't want to touch the ad campaign, especially not really frequently. The first 3 days, we just want to let this run. Depending on how much you're spending, like if you're spending under $100 a day, you want to let it run for 3 days. And in these 3 days, you want to let Facebook do its thing. Find the right customers, find who wants to click onto your ad. Okay. You need a lot of these optimization events to get the results that you're looking for. There's some metrics. I would want to get rid of the key here, but obviously, you want to make sure these numbers are more or less in the box, right? And what we can do here is just, if you're spending hundreds of dollars and you're not getting leads, that might be a red flag. So here, usually it's $100, but what you can also do is 3 to 4x KPI. Okay, now obviously at the beginning when you're starting out, you do not know your KPI yet, right? Because some of you that are selling very, very, very high ticket, so really expensive homes, where one client will make you maybe $200,000, your KPI could be really high. You could potentially afford to pay for a qualified conversation, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000, right? Because if you're having 10 qualified conversations and that costs you $20,000, but one of these clients brings you $200,000, well, maybe that's still a good investment. So this KPI, the general consensus cost per book call, is going to be $200 to $300. However, I know clients spending $800 on a cost per book call. Again, it depends on your sales ability, your team, and how good you can close these people and how big your ticket is. Sometimes with a big ticket, cost per book call over $500 is completely fine. This will be your initial acquisition cost here. So I would always recommend spending at least, 2 to 3x KPI. So that means in this case, we're spending not 100, but $600 to $800 in spend to see if we are reaching KPI. So if we are actually getting these consultations in, okay? If we're not getting any leads in at all, we might need to look at the creative and stuff like that after 2-3 days. Those are some of the key metrics here. Once we figure this out, we really don't want to touch the ad set. Okay, we just leave it as is. There's a comfortable budget that we're comfortable with, and we want to collect the leads that are coming in, and we want to work on our sales process. We want to work on qualifying and closing these leads. Later down the road, when you feel comfortable spending more money, there's ways to increase and scale your campaigns. I will create an entire separate video on this topic of scaling campaigns, but initially you want to not go too crazy and change a lot on your ad set. So you can increase the budget, never more than 20%, because it resets your learning phase. So you always want to go up to 19-20% and never more. Another easy way to scale your campaigns is just to duplicate your entire campaign or your ad set, depending on how you have your campaign structured, and go with that. Just run another budget, duplicate your budget, whatever is in it for you, and then scale those campaigns. There's one last thing. We talked a little bit about this key metrics and what to track in the initial days. What's way more important is when these leads come in. You know how it is. Maybe you've clicked on advertisements yourself before, right? Speed to lead is the most important metric. People are scrolling, maybe it's a late night scroll, maybe it's during the day, something else. There's 100 other things that get in between. You need to be there and reach out to them. Okay, so whatever it is, if you have automations in place, like I showed you before with the CRM that we use, that's great. If you want to call your leads and reach out to them personally as a customer service, or just, hey, just checking you received the lead magnet that you wanted, or checking, are you, just wanted to ask you if you got everything, if everything's fine, cool. Just curious, what project are you working on? You can give them a quick call. We have scripts that are triage scripts where you can call people and it tells you exactly what to say in order to get them onto a consultation with you. What's really important at this stage is if you're calling a lead that has not scheduled a consultation with you, that just wanted the resource or just wanted to snoop around a little bit in your advertisement, it's really important that during this stage, you only focus on one thing. You're not trying to sell them something. You're not trying to talk about their project or their home, whatever it is, intimately. The only thing you're trying to do at this stage is to get them to book a conversation with you if you believe they're qualified, or to disqualify them. That's the only goal, okay? So at this stage, you're calling them, you're checking, you're doing a customer service call. You're being like, hey, I just wanted to check if you received the resource, if everything's fine. And then you can go in and you can say, hey, I'm just curious, what is it that you're doing right now? And again, I'll share this detailed resource with you as well. So you have the triage call script, and you can ask these particular questions to either disqualify them or to book them on a consultation. That is the only goal. You want to do some things automatically, especially if you're getting a lot of leads, right? Like I mentioned earlier, you're getting hundreds of leads per month. You want to have some automated email follow-ups, right? Especially for the ones that have the consultation with you, but also in between to nurture them, to show them case studies, testimonials, follow-ups, different things that you do. You want to keep this in. And most importantly, something that we didn't really cover a lot in this video is you want to be tracking all of this to the T. Okay, so you want to have a spreadsheet where you put everything in, where you have all of your leads that came in, how many of them booked a call, how many of them finally closed, okay? Because this will allow you to finally track exactly how much money you spent and how much money you got in return for spending this money. All right, so in order to get started, what you need to do next, I hope you have most of the information that you need. Up there, I'm gonna link the next video, which I'm going to talk about tracking in particular, so that you can implement this very well. And I wanted to leave you guys at the end of this video just with the common reasons why Facebook ads don't work for you and why most people fail, because it's really just really simple, right? The biggest reason why people fail is they just give up too soon. So keep that 3-month horizon in there and don't give up. Like even for the ad set specifically, you want to let these run for a good amount of time. Okay, if you have the ad set out there and it's one day and you didn't get a lead, but you're only spending $30 a day, give it time. Okay, if you're only spending $30 a day, you need to give it at least a week before you make any decisions on if this is working or not working. Okay, so spending $30 a day, going 1 week and not getting one single lead, that might be a red flag. Okay, everything else is still completely fine. Remember, Facebook is just getting started, has no data on you yet, nothing, and is trying to figure out who actually could be interested in your offer. That's a rather difficult task. They're really, really freaking good at it, but you got to give it a little bit of time. Okay. The second thing that, might not work is just having a bad offer. So spend a lot of time on your magnetic offer, on your ideal client, figuring out exactly who they are, what hobbies they have, where they live, what do they do, what are their key pain points and challenges and desires. And if you do not know that, go speak to them. Speak to your former clients, your best clients, your current clients, or customers, people that you work with, right? And if you're completely fresh and you're starting out and you're trying to do this completely from scratch, then you got to go do the student implementation call, right? You pretend you're a student or whatever, not pretend. You call up the people and you say, hey, Mr. Doctor, hey, Mr. Lawyer, or whatever demographic you're trying to serve. What is your key challenge when you're trying to do X, Y, Z, or are you currently even looking for that? Right? So, and make sure that your offer here for these people fits perfectly on what they're actually looking for. The next thing why people many times, don't figure this out is just weak follow-up, right? They get leads, but they're not, and you'll see this actually, you'll know this is the problem if you get 100 leads and you didn't close anyone, right? So if you got 100 leads and you did not close and you made back your money, then this might be one of your problems here, right? And finally, not tracking things. Either you don't have the pixel correctly or you don't have your own tracking dashboards that actually help you understand exactly where your money is going and exactly where you're making it back. And by the way, if you have an agency that is doing this for you and they're not tracking it properly and they do not offer you these results and clarity, I would highly recommend booking a call below, talking to us, to my team, and making sure that we can help you with this. Because even like on the call, we would be able to show you exactly what you should be tracking or what not, or maybe even if it's implemented correctly, and we could show you what you could be doing better, potentially how much money you're losing here as well. Okay, so these are the main reasons why this doesn't work for you, and I really hope this turns out to be the most lucrative next step within your business, running Facebook ads, and see you in the next one.